Hello, this is Die Turbo with the first of hopefully quite a few series. I've done a couple of other videos, but unfortunately I've been so crazy this last few months looking after my father and different things. I ain't had a chance really to get things going, but hopefully this will be a start. I like action films, I like horror films particularly, and I've become a big, massive, more of a fan than what I was when I was a kid, and I was a huge fan. I've seen all the big, bad band films from back in the day, and basically I give myself a little bit of a test. I give myself a project back 2 years ago. I wanted to see, from Britain's point of view, the first 72 films that was banned in the 80s, and see how many I'd seen, the ones I didn't see, and basically look at them and see really how bad they was. A lot of them was bad, but bad in the wrong way. I'd say out of the 72, there was probably about 10, maybe 15 that deserved to sort of have a little bit of hype around it. The rest of them were just so poor. But so poor, some of them were actually good, as any big fan of horror knows that the cheaper they are, sometimes the better they are. Not always, but most of the time. So basically what we're going to go through is I'm going to do this twice a week, once on a Tuesday, and once on Saturday, and basically go over some new films I've seen and some old things. I'm going to discuss a little bit about each film, not major because some people haven't seen the film, and I don't want to give the plot away. And basically it's just going to be a thumbs up, thumbs down. I'm not going to go into it and say give it 1 to 10 and stuff, because it's just meaningless to me. So what I'm basically going to do in this short space of time of 15 minutes, I'm going to try and go through 6 films, 3 old ones, 3 new ones. I'm going to start off with basically one of the most obvious ones on the ban list is Anthropophagus. I suffer with dyslexia, so I do apologise if I haven't said this right. This film is actually not a bad film. The guy that plays it, I can't remember names, I'm terrible, he's also in the film Absurd, which is sort of, they did class it as sort of a follow-up, but it isn't. It's just the same character with a couple of other people that look familiar in it. Anthropophagus is basically they go onto a random island for no real reason and discover that they're being stalked by this mutilated man who believes the only way to survive is eat human flesh in the most gruesome and grotesque way he's going. And I'm not talking about cooking people either. This man just eats. Real creepy guy. If you've seen Anthropophagus and Absurd, he is just a real scary looking guy. Most of the characters in these horror films from Italy and Spain tend to be that way, and it's brilliant because I believe that the Italians make the best horror films. Dario Argento, Lucio Fulci, Rodrigo Brugada, unbelievable people. So they're stuck on this island. There's about 4 or 5 of them, 6 of them, and basically they're all getting taken out one by one. It's not a bad film, it's watchable, but they are as gruesome and as gory as I love films to be, and I do. I'm a big fan of gory films. The gorier the better. But they've got to have a reason to it, they've got to have a meaning to it. And there's 2 real scenes in it where he just disembowels himself and starts eating his own intestines, which I didn't quite understand. I just thought was absurd. And secondly, there's a scene in there where he eats a baby, a fetus of a baby who I'm not going to go into details of it, just watch it. It to me was just basically go for the sake of go. If it had a little bit more of a story and a meaning to understanding of it, I could understand that scene being in it, but it was just purposely put in there just to get people thinking, oh god, that is just not right. But thumbs up for me. It's a decent film. It's watchable. It's not something you want to see over and over again. It's quite unsettling in places. It's quite eerie. The Italians have got a fantastic way of just building things up. They're experts when it comes to horror films. They know how to get you going, and they know how to slow you down and build you back up again. It really is an atmospheric film, and I don't know where this island is, but it just got all the details of all creepiness in it. So there's Anthropophagus. So we'll go down the list a little bit. But we'll first go up to one of the most up-to-date films. Now, this film was hyped up and has a real big following. Get Out. Now, I'm not a fussy person. I'm not one to dwell on different things and stuff and argue with people over different things. But it's one thing I'm a little bit passionate about with horror films is what defines as being an horror film. Now, this film, Get Out, to me is more like a thriller than it is a horror film. It's basically about a guy who gets set up by a beautiful looking girl who's got a wealthy family. He takes him to this big mansion in a house, and he's going to be experimented on and turned into pretty much like a zombie, almost like a dead zombie, but they just experiment with him and turn him into the person he isn't. It is a little bit gory in places towards the end. The film itself is really good. It is a good film. It does a decent job. But I don't class it as an horror film. I class it as a thriller because it's more sort of if we see thrillers, thrillers got it all. They keep it on the edge of your seat, and you might see a bit of blood and guts in it, but it's not real horror. It's you sort of towards the middle of the film. You know where you're going with this film. Is it worth the hype? Well, it is a very good quality made film. I mean, the actor, he's just won an Oscar for The Black Messiah. I haven't seen that film yet. I will be seeing that in the next couple of weeks. He's a decent actor, and it really is a good film. Well worth a watch. Thumbs up for me. But I don't consider it as an horror. I consider it more as a thriller than horror, but that's just me being fussy. So that's number 2. Right. There's a film that came out, I'm not sure, it's definitely been out in the last 3 years. It's called A Most Unusual Story, and it's probably one of the most goriest films I've ever seen. It's called The Sioux. Basically, it's these 2 young people take this group of elderly people that makes a change from all the slasher movies with the teenagers and the college kids. Takes these group of people, these 2 kids, from some sort of elderly home to a bucking bronco show, one of them rodeos. Little they realise that the people organising this rodeo is on taking a lot of drugs, super supplements, and very, very some sort of strange high-tech steroid, making them not aggressive, making them killers. The gore and the scenes in this film leave absolutely nothing to the imagination. Every kind of killing is in this film, and it's fun to watch. It's a laugh, it's tongue-in-cheek, it has plenty of humour. It is a little bit sick in places, but it's more fun than it is sick. But it's got, the kill count just is immense. It is like, there's a lot of people die in this film, and it's a good ending too. So keep an eye out for this film, The Sioux. It's on all your normal things, Soap Today, Netflix, I think, and I think Amazon. Real good film, thumbs up, cracking film, just right. Now, I'm a bit slow with some horror films. I'm catching up with a lot of them. Children of the Corn. Now, this wasn't on the ban list, but this was a real hyped up, very, very popular film. And of course, the genre of the film it is about kids killing grown-ups and taking over, due to religion and stuff. It's a different kind of genre. Now, I never got around to seeing this as all the great films I've seen in the 70s and 80s growing up. I never seen this film, so I've watched the first one and I've seen the second so far. And there's hundreds. There's like 15, 20 films now, like Hellraiser. Come to that now. And I watched it. Linda Hamilton, hotter than a sunburn on a Sunday. The film is okay. It's slow. To me, it was more like a made-for-television horror film. Not a lot of language, no nudity really as such, and which you had in the 80s. Sex and violence go well together in a horror film, and that's what they base most horror films on in the 70s and 80s, even some of the 60s, but the Hammer films, they certainly like their breast, and I don't mean chicken either. it's a decent film to watch, but it's very slow. Um, the only way I can describe it is this: would I watch it again in a rush? No. It gets a thumbs up for me because it's got that quality in it. You know, they've spent the budget on it is pretty good considering, and there's some good little special effects in it. Consider this film came out, I think, 1983, 1984. I've seen the second one and it's just pretty much more the same. I'm not going to be in a rush to see all of the rest. I will see them eventually. Um, but basically it's a film that I wouldn't rush and panic to go and see again. On to the Hellraiser films. Now this is the fourth one. I'm obviously going to have to do this in two parts because, well, I might do a couple more anyway, but I'm going to do this in two parts each day, a little bit of it. I was a big fan. I've seen the first one, never seen the rest. Now I've looked into it and they have got hundreds. I mean, it's like something like 20 odd films. And I'm slowly getting there. I watched the first one. I thought I monster fan of Tony Todd, one of the creepiest looking guys that I've ever seen, and he was great in the remake of Night of the Living Dead. I thought they couldn't got a guy that played a better part, and he apparently was the guy that was going to be one of the main stars in the first film. Clive Barker for some reason didn't pick this guy, so he was out of the film. They picked unknown people pretty much for Hellraiser and kept it not I wouldn't say a low budget. I mean, this film looks very cleverly done, but it kept the atmosphere of what you get here, sort of cheapish horror films. Nobody understood that it was going to be made. They're going to end up doing it as many films as they did. When I go back to Tony Todd was around about the same time. It wasn't long after Hellraiser, after apparently Tony Todd was asked to do this film and then rejected, that he went on to do Candyman, and we'll come to that now as well. So I watched the first Hellraiser, and I can't think of the name of the guy. I'm terrible with names, as I say. I do apologise. I'm not going to study things and all. I'm just going to give a view of a film. I'm not a critic. I'm just giving my point of view. I watched the first one, 88, I think the first one came out. I thought it was a great film, great build-up. Started off with a bit of violence, bit of gore. It slowly built up, and then you had that big whack at the end, and it was so futuristic and fantasized and stuff. Great film. Now recently I've watched the second and yesterday the third. The second was a great, in my opinion, follow-up, and it isn't many good follow-ups to horror films. I thought it was a decent film. I really, really did enjoy it. I thought, well, yeah, I'll watch the third. Yesterday I watched the third and I thought it was one of the best horror films I've ever seen. It is a lot different to the other two. It is more set on Earth than it is in this hell. Again, the same monsters, and it's the gore in it is spot on. It's the right amount. It's violent. It's gory. It's full on. It keeps you hooked from start to finish. It is the perfect horror film in my opinion. I know a lot of people probably say differently, but I watched it and I just, at the end of the film, I shook my hand for that's one of the best horror films. It's got it all. It's the perfect horror film, and it's just spot on, and some gorgeous looking women in it, I must say. Fantastic. I'm going to pause now for a few seconds, and we'll see you on the second part of Die Turbo's House of Horror.